When Clara started her new job at Brightwave Marketing, she was both excited and nervous. It was her first big opportunity after college, and she wanted to prove she could handle real responsibilities. The office was modern, full of energy, and led by a young, confident CEO named Alex Carter. He was successful, respected, and, as Clara soon realized, incredibly charming. Clara's first day was a blur of introductions, emails, and meetings. Everyone seemed friendly, but Alex stood out. He greeted her personally, shook her hand with a warm smile, and said, "Welcome to the team, Clara. I've heard great things about you." That simple sentence replayed in her mind for the rest of the day. She knew it probably didn't mean much, but something about his tone made her heart beat faster. Over the next few weeks, Clara worked hard. She stayed late, took on extra tasks, and always tried to make everything perfect. Alex noticed. He often stopped by her desk, asking how things were going, or complimenting her ideas in meetings. "You think differently," he once told her, "and that's exactly what this company needs." It was the kind of praise every young employee dreams of, but to Clara, it felt more personal. One afternoon, while Clara was finishing a presentation, the office lights flickered. Everyone else had already gone home. Alex appeared at her desk, holding 2 cups of coffee. "You shouldn't work this late," he said, smiling softly. "But since you are, I thought you could use this." They talked for hours that evening, about work, dreams, and life. Clara was surprised by how easy it was to talk to him. He wasn't the distant, cold CEO she had expected. He listened. He laughed. He remembered the little things she said. That night, as she walked home through the quiet city streets, Clara couldn't stop smiling. She told herself it was just admiration, respect for her boss. But deep down, she felt something different, something that scared her a little. The following week, their connection grew stronger. During meetings, she could feel his gaze linger a little longer than before. When he laughed at her jokes, it wasn't just polite, it was genuine. Her colleagues began to tease her. "The boss seems to really like you," they said with knowing smiles. Clara brushed it off, pretending not to care, but inside, she was confused. She didn't want to fall for him. It was wrong, unprofessional, and dangerous. Yet every time Alex complimented her or asked for her opinion, her heart betrayed her. One day, he invited her to join him at a client dinner. "You've done great work, Clara. You deserve to be there." She accepted, though she knew she shouldn't. That night, she wore her favorite blue dress, trying not to overthink it. The dinner went perfectly. The client was impressed, and Alex kept praising her insights. But what Clara remembered most wasn't the conversation about marketing strategies. It was the moment their hands brushed as they reached for the same glass of water. For a second, neither of them moved. Their eyes met, and the world seemed to stop. Then Alex looked away, clearing his throat, and continued talking as if nothing had happened. When the evening ended, he offered to drive her home. The city lights glowed through the car windows, and the silence between them was electric. "You did great tonight," Alex said quietly. "You're special, Clara." Her heart pounded. She wanted to say something, but words failed her. As she stepped out of the car, she felt his eyes on her. She turned back and smiled, whispering, "Thank you." Alex hesitated, as if he wanted to say more, but instead, he just nodded. "See you tomorrow." That night, Clara lay awake in bed, her mind racing. She knew what she was feeling, and she knew it could change everything. She told herself she wouldn't let it go further, that she'd focus only on work. But somewhere deep inside, she already knew it was too late. Something had begun between them, something that couldn't easily be ignored. The days after the client dinner felt different. Clara tried to convince herself nothing had changed, but every time Alex walked into the room, her heart reacted before her mind could stop it. Their eyes met too often, their conversations lasted too long, and every word seemed to carry a hidden meaning. She didn't want to fall deeper, but resisting him felt impossible. One morning, Alex called Clara into his office to discuss a new project. His office was bright, full of plants and sunlight, but that day it felt smaller, like the air itself was heavier. As she handed him a report, their fingers brushed, and the spark was undeniable. He looked up, his voice quieter than usual. "Clara, you've been doing amazing work. I mean it." She smiled politely, trying to keep it professional, but her pulse was racing. They started spending more time together, brainstorming, staying late to plan campaigns, sharing coffee breaks that turned into personal talks. Clara learned that Alex wasn't just a confident boss. He was kind, thoughtful, even lonely. He told her about the pressure of running a company, the sleepless nights, the constant expectations. She listened, offering understanding he hadn't found in anyone else. One night, as they stood by the office window watching the city lights, he sighed. "Sometimes I wonder what my life would look like if I had someone who really understood me." Clara didn't answer, but her silence said enough. The next morning, she promised herself she'd draw a line. She wouldn't stay late anymore. She wouldn't let emotions take over. But promises are easy to make and hard to keep. That week, Alex asked her to join him on a business trip to present their new campaign to an investor. "You're the heart of this project," he said. "I need you there." Her stomach twisted. She knew it wasn't just about business, but she agreed. The trip was a blur of airports, meetings, and long hours. During the presentation, Clara shone. She spoke clearly, confidently, and the investors were impressed. Afterward, Alex congratulated her with pride. "You were incredible," he said. "I couldn't have done this without you." That night, the team celebrated, but Clara and Alex stayed behind at the hotel bar. The music was soft, the lights dim. They talked for hours, laughing and forgetting the rest of the world. When the conversation paused, silence filled the space between them, deep, charged, and unspoken. "Clara," Alex said finally, his voice almost a whisper, "this isn't just work for me anymore." She looked at him, her heart racing. "Alex," she started, but he continued, "I know it's wrong. You're my employee. But I can't ignore how I feel." His words sent a rush of warmth and fear through her at the same time. She wanted to say no, to walk away, but she couldn't. When he reached for her hand, she didn't pull back. For a few moments, everything else disappeared, the rules, the risk, the world. It was just them. Later that night, Clara lay awake in her hotel room, staring at the ceiling. Her mind replayed every second of their conversation. She felt both exhilarated and terrified. This was real now, not a fantasy, not imagination. She was falling for her boss, and he was falling for her. But love in the wrong place could destroy everything they'd worked for. The next morning, things were quiet. At breakfast, they spoke about work as if nothing had happened, careful not to look too long at each other. But the truth lingered between them, stronger than ever. On the flight home, Clara watched clouds drift past the window, wondering if she had crossed a line she could never uncross. Back at the office, Everything looked the same desks, the same people, the same hum of conversation. Yet Clara felt changed. Every time she passed Alex in the hallway, her chest tightened. They both knew what had begun on that trip. It wasn't just attraction anymore. It was something deeper, something that couldn't stay hidden for long. And as she sat back at her desk, pretending to focus on her work, she realized something she couldn't deny. She didn't want it to end. Even if it was wrong, even if it was dangerous, she was already in too deep. From the outside, nothing seemed different. Clara still came to work early, still smiled at her co-workers, still took notes during meetings. But inside, everything had changed. The air between her and Alex was electric, charged with glances and hidden smiles that no one else seemed to notice. They tried to act normal, but their hearts refused to cooperate. Every time their hands brushed, every time their eyes met across the room, the secret between them grew heavier and harder to hide. At first, it was small things. Alex would stop by her desk just to ask about her morning, his tone too gentle for a boss. He'd linger after meetings, offering to help her carry folders she didn't need help with. Sometimes, when no one was around, his hand would briefly touch hers, a quiet promise that only they could understand. To everyone else, it looked professional. But to Clara, it felt like fire. Their late nights at the office became a routine. They'd tell the team they had to finish reports or review numbers, but both knew it wasn't about work. They'd sit side by side, sharing coffee and laughter that slowly turned into silence, the kind filled with words left unspoken. One evening, as rain poured outside, Alex looked at her and said softly, "You make this place feel different." His voice was warm but sad. "I shouldn't say that," he added, running a hand through his hair. "But I mean it." Clara smiled, her heart aching. "I know," she whispered. Keeping their secret wasn't easy. Clara was constantly afraid someone would notice. When co-workers teased her about how much time she spent with the boss, she laughed it off, but inside, panic stirred. Every text, every message, every shared look felt like walking on thin ice. Yet, the risk only made it more thrilling. For the first time in her life, she felt truly alive, even if it was because of something she couldn't talk about. One Friday, after a long week, Alex invited her to his office under the excuse of reviewing a campaign. But as soon as she walked in, he closed the door behind her. "I've missed talking to you," he admitted quietly. Clara froze, her heart racing. "We saw each other this morning," she said with a nervous laugh. "You know what I mean," he replied. His eyes softened, and in that moment, Clara forgot about everything. The office, the rules, the consequences. He took a small step closer. "Clara, tell me to stop, and I will." But she didn't. Instead, she closed the distance between them, and for the first time, they kissed, gentle, hesitant, full of emotion and fear. Afterward, they sat together in silence, knowing they had crossed another line. "We can't let anyone find out," Clara whispered. Alex nodded. "I know. I'll protect you. Always." It was a promise that made her feel safe and terrified at the same time. The following weeks were a blur of secrecy and stolen moments. A smile shared in the elevator. A quick text that said, "You looked beautiful today." Late-night calls that ended with sleepy goodnights and quiet laughter. But for every moment of happiness, there was a shadow of guilt. Clara couldn't shake the fear that it would all come crashing down. Then, one morning, a small comment from her co-worker shook her. "Clara, you and Mr. Carter seem pretty close lately," said Jessica with a smirk. "Are you getting promoted or something?" Clara forced a laugh, but her stomach twisted. That day, she avoided Alex completely, afraid someone would notice even the smallest reaction. That evening, Alex sent her a message. "You're quiet today. Did I do something?" She hesitated before replying. "People are starting to talk." A few minutes later, he appeared at her desk. "Come to my office," he said softly. Behind closed doors, his expression was serious. "Maybe we need to be more careful," he said. Clara nodded. "I don't want to lose my job," she admitted. "You won't," Alex promised. "I'd never let that happen." But deep down, Clara knew promises couldn't protect them forever. Secrets always find their way to the surface. As she left his office that night, she glanced back one more time. Alex stood by the window, watching the city lights, the same lights that had once made everything feel magical. Now they looked like warning signs. Clara walked out into the cold night, her heart heavy with both love and fear. She wanted to believe they could keep their secret safe. She wanted to believe that love could survive in the shadows. But for the first time, she wasn't sure. It started with whispers, small, harmless comments that grew louder each day. At first, Clara thought she was imagining it. A few glances here, a few quiet laughs when she entered the break room. But soon, the air in the office felt heavier, full of suspicion. Someone had noticed. Someone was talking. On Monday morning, Clara arrived early, hoping for a quiet start. But as she passed two co-workers near the elevator, she caught part of their conversation. "I'm telling you," one whispered, "there's something going on between her and Mr. Carter." Her heart stopped. She kept walking, pretending not to hear, but her hands were shaking. By the time she reached her desk, her stomach felt like stone. That day, every little thing felt different. The way people looked at her. The way conversations stopped when she entered a room. Even Jessica, who used to chat with her every morning, gave her a strange, knowing smile. Clara tried to focus on work, but her mind wouldn't stop spinning. Did Alex know? Did he hear the rumors too? When she finally saw him, it was in a meeting. He acted normal, professional, calm, almost too calm. But Clara could tell by the tightness in his jaw that he'd heard the same whispers. He avoided her eyes completely, and for the first time in weeks, they didn't speak after everyone left the room. The silence between them hurt more than the gossip. That evening, when most of the office was gone, Alex finally appeared at her desk. "Can you come to my office for a minute?" he asked quietly. She followed, her heart pounding. As soon as the door closed, he exhaled heavily. "They're talking," he said. "I tried to ignore it, but it's spreading." Clara sank into a chair. "I know. I've heard it too." He sat down across from her, his voice low but firm. "We need to be careful. One wrong move, and HR will get involved. They could say it's favoritism, or worse." His words stung, not because he was wrong, but because they sounded so cold. "Is that all you care about?" Clara asked softly. "Your reputation." Alex looked up sharply. "You think this is easy for me?" "I'm trying to protect you, Clara. Both of us." The tension hung between them like a wall. She wanted to reach out, to remind him that what they had was real, but she couldn't. It wasn't the right place. Maybe there wasn't a right place anymore. The next few days were torture. Clara avoided Alex as much as possible, pretending everything was normal. She worked, smiled, and laughed when she needed to, but inside she felt hollow. Their messages stopped. Their late-night calls stopped. The connection that once felt unstoppable now felt fragile, like a secret crumbling under pressure. One evening, as she was packing her things, Alex appeared at her desk again. "I can't do this anymore," he said quietly. Her heart dropped. "Do what?" "Pretend we're strangers," he said. "Pretend that I don't care." His eyes softened, filled with the same warmth she had fallen for. "But if this continues, they'll tear you apart. I can handle it. I've been in the public eye before. But you don't deserve that." Clara felt tears sting her eyes. "So what do we do?" she whispered. Alex hesitated, then said the word she feared most, "Maybe we need to step back." She stood there, frozen. The man who had made her feel alive was now asking her to let go. "If that's what you want," she said, trying to sound strong. "It's not what I want," he replied, his voice breaking. "It's what we need." That night, Clara walked home under the city lights that used to feel romantic but now looked distant and cold. The rumors had stolen their peace, their smiles, their secret moments. Love had turned into something dangerous, and for the first time she wondered if it was worth the cost. Still, deep inside, she knew one thing: her story with Alex wasn't over yet. Not like this. Days passed, and the silence between Clara and Alex became unbearable. They spoke only when necessary, their words clipped and formal. To everyone else, it seemed professional, but inside, both were falling apart. Clara missed his laughter, his late-night texts, the way he made her feel seen. Yet she knew the rumors had changed everything. Their love was now a risk neither of them could afford. One evening, after the office had emptied, Clara stayed behind to finish a report. The quiet hum of the lights filled the room. She didn't expect Alex to walk in, but he did, looking tired, conflicted, and somehow relieved. "I didn't plan to stay," he said softly, "but I needed to see you." Clara's heart skipped. "Alex, we can't keep doing this," she whispered. "I know," he said, stepping closer. "But pretending I don't care is worse." He took a deep breath. "I got an offer, a big one. A position in another city. It would mean stepping away from Brightwave." Clara's chest tightened. "You're leaving?" He nodded. "If I stay, the rumors won't stop. And you'll keep paying the price for being near me." She looked down, tears forming. "So you're leaving for me?" Alex smiled sadly. "Maybe for us. So we can both breathe again." Clara wanted to ask him to stay, but she didn't. Deep down, she knew he was right. Love, no matter how strong, shouldn't destroy the lives around it. "Will I ever see you again?" she asked. He hesitated. "I hope so. When it's the right time." Then, for the last time, he reached out and held her hand. It wasn't a goodbye filled with drama, just quiet understanding. A week later, Alex was gone. The office felt emptier, but Clara found strength she didn't know she had. She focused on her work, earned respect for her ideas, and eventually led her own team. Sometimes, late at night, she'd look out the window at the same city lights that once witnessed their secret. They no longer made her sad. Instead, they reminded her that love, even when it can't last, can still change you for the better. Months passed. One rainy evening, Clara received an email. The subject line read, "Proud of you." It was from Alex. Just 2 words, but they made her smile. She realized that what they had wasn't a mistake, it was a chapter. One that taught her courage, honesty, and the power of letting go with love. And as she closed her laptop that night, Clara whispered to herself, "Some stories don't need a perfect ending, just the right one."